You're listening to the Energy is Love podcast.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Now people listening know.
No, you can take that out.
We're recording right now. Everything henceforth.
I am going to start talking in detail about things that you'll have no choice but to delete.
This is it.
Ow. This is it? This is where here.
It feels so weird, doesn't it?
Am I going to lose my voice?
This feels
How
so weird. Yeah.
This is way weird. This everything looks different. Everything feels different. Everything is different.
It sounds different.
It does sound different.
I'm freaking out over audio. I don't know if this sounds good or not.
Oh, you know what? What if we have an echo because the things aren't on the walls anymore?
Because everything's empty in here.
This episode might have an echo.
It doesn't have an echo. Don't fucking curse it. It's fine.
I didn't curse it.
It's fine. Everything's great. So we've been
let's
busy.
say what we're doing so they understand why, if there is or is not, or why we're even talking about an echo. A ripple in time.
Everything's different.
A universal background noise.
Life changes. We've been gone for a month.
It has been a month.
Yeah, the last episode.
It's like 3 weeks.
Hold on, let's look. The last episode came out on September 1st.
September 1st, and it's October 1st.
And we're recording on October 1st.
Exactly. Well, yeah, we're recording on October 1st. It's exactly a month.
And
new beginnings. Yeah. We're bringing the new energy. It's episode 333. Booyah.
Where did we go? What happened?
Where
do we even fucking begin?
Where do we start? First of all, I'm noticing paint on this table that I'm trying to like peel off that I can't hyper focus on.
There might be a little bit of paint on the table.
So that's a teaser. We've been painting. We've been painting.
I don't even know where to begin.
Packing. Well, there was a decision made.
One that we have been building up to for years and years and years and months and months and months and for a while.
It's been a journey. It's been a journey. Craig laughs at me a lot. I glare a lot. It's a thing.
No, we've decided to move.
Yeah.
And it's a decision that we made a while back. And now it's been set into motion and our house is for sale. And we are getting ready to pack everything up and head out.
Leave on a jet plane. Actually, on a road trip, but
on a road
we're not going to fly.
Jet plane.
We're gonna leave in a U-Haul. I don't know. Can I take you all these?
So suddenly the decisions were made and everything started happening really quickly. And then it became time to get the house ready to sell, which we love our house and we've been here for 8 years, something like that.
8 years, 8 months. It was 8 years, 8 months when we made this choice.
So that decision involved getting the house ready to sell. And that meant
taking all of the personality.
That
Our house has so much personality.
We had so much
character.
So much personality.
So much personality.
So much repairs that needed to be made.
And there was some repairs. Some of the personality had attitude.
Yes.
So.
But we had to strip, like, for starters, this was a huge decision for us.
Yes.
This was a decision that was massively important to make for a variety of different reasons, and it's been made and now the ball is rolling. But it was a really, really big decision for us, and it just happened kind of out of nowhere. We probably could have planned for it a little bit more, but at the same time, it just happened. And then it was like,
and we're here.
Okay, time to sell the house.
Yeah.
And then we look around the house and we're like, okay, we got a little bit to do. And that involved like the stripping of wallpaper. So we're going to go on a tangent right now.
Yeah. Don't ever put wallpaper in your house.
Whoever invented wallpaper is dead now. Thank God. And if you are contemplating putting wallpaper up in your house, don't
do it.
And if you own some sort of like business that sells wallpaper, fuck you. And you should hopefully go out of business soon.
No.
Everything about wallpaper.
Oh no. Or at least like,
it's horrendous.
It is horrendous. Like there's got to be a way. Like if you're going to, like, I don't want people to go out of business. So maybe we say.
Change your business. Stop selling the fucking devil paper.
Yeah. Or make it like.
Sell something else besides shit to hang on
There's
fucking
got to
walls.
be something that doesn't blow out arms and backs trying to get it off.
It was a horrible nightmare. This house had a lot of wallpaper in it.
So much wallpaper.
And we had to remove all of it so that we could then paint these walls.
All of the wallpaper, all of it.
It was just horrendous.
It's so painful.
So the entire month of September was us fucking dying and trying to remove wallpaper. And every day we woke up and it was just like More wallpaper. Sweet.
More wallpaper. And then we had to pack, and then replacing a shower.
What did you do What did you do
and
yesterday? I
then
did wallpaper.
painting, because we had to get it all done before the new carpet came in, because we had to get the wallpaper off the walls and the paint on the walls before the new carpet, because we couldn't risk getting paint on the new carpet. So
we weren't careful either. We got paint everywhere.
Well, because we were only like, we don't have to worry about it because we're getting new carpet. And then we're like, oh, there's other features in the house. Now we're scraping paint like off of the podcast table, which, by the way, was covered in plastic.
Parts of it at times.
So I don't know.
So that's what we did for the month of September.
Yeah.
And it was a full-time job.
And we had a yard sale, a big yard sale.
Yeah, we had a yard sale.
Which was also a lot.
I'm exhausted now just thinking back over the past month of what we had done.
So much.
It was an endless nightmare of work, day after day after day.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy, crazy, crazy.
How do you feel like we did? I mean, obviously the end is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it's awesome and everything. But like, I was thinking about this, and
as a couple, as a physical human being, like, what are you talking about?
As a physical human being.
Like, as physical human beings, I think we broke our bodies, and we need repairs now. We now have to ask other people for help. We're like, this doesn't work on my body anymore. Will you help me?
I learned a lot about us over the course of the last month.
Oh, did you? I'm interested to see what you
cleaned this table.
I know. I'm just realizing it. There's like dust. How did we?
That's okay.
Whatever. It's here. You know what is clean?
What?
The floors, the walls, the light fixtures.
Yeah. There's no wallpaper.
There's no wallpaper. The bathrooms, the tile, everything is clean except for this table.
If you could do last month over again.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to ask that question.
Are you sure? I got some answers.
I feel so bad. I've been beating myself up ever since, like throughout the entire month, because I feel like I was just the biggest jerk. I didn't do it the way that I wish I would have done it. This whole thing of like everything that we had to do required so much time and energy and like work. Yeah. It was just like, put your head down and get the work done. Right. Mm-hmm. And we could have done it differently. Yeah. At the time, what eye roll? I didn't eye roll. You fucking eye rolled.
What am I doing now?
At the time,
it's a glare. I'm gonna lose my voice again. At the time,
like I didn't feel like I could do it differently.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like there was a way, even though I know that there's a way to like do it differently. And what I'm talking about was just how like unbearable I felt like I was to be around. I felt overwhelmed. I felt like I was.
It's overwhelming.
I don't know. I just didn't want to be such a big jerk. And I think at the end of the day, I ended up being a big jerk. What do you think?
I feel like you just backed me into a corner. I know damn well this is a trap and I'm not participating. I'm moving on.
Well, some of the stuff that I wanted to talk about on the podcast, because we have a lot to talk about, obviously. Yeah. Like why we're moving and some of the things that have come up for us in regards to like the whole process and the emotionality of it all. And,
yeah. Are we going to get into that?
I think so.
All right, cool.
I mean,
I got lots to say for sure.
Well, go ahead and say something off of what you want to say.
It's a whole tangent where we were still asking questions. Like you did it the way you thought you needed to do it, the way that you do things, but you wanted to do it differently. Do you want to go into that more first?
I don't know. I just feel terrible.
Yeah?
Yeah, I feel terrible. I feel like I didn't do a good job of not getting overwhelmed. But then at the same time, it's like, I'm trying not to be too hard on myself because it was overwhelming.
It was very overwhelming.
Right. It was like just a nightmare.
Yeah.
An endless nightmare that did not end. Every single day was just, and we're like, legitimately, we're not, like it was every day for almost the entire month of September.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, I guess I did an okay job of not, what am I looking for here, babe?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out.
I don't know either. I guess I'm just feeling guilty. In my head, it didn't, like what I saw in my head didn't turn out to be what it was.
Yeah.
Right. I thought it was going to be a much different experience. And instead it was just like a shit show nightmare for weeks.
Yeah.
How did it feel for you?
The same. I expected it to be very different. I had a whole like vision in my head of how it was going to go. That vision is also tailored to how I needed it to go. I had like emotional needs during it, and it did not happen at all. It was completely different than how I thought it was going to go and how I needed it to go. But I guess, like, I don't know, I'm learning. I'm definitely learning things. I feel like part of my heart for now has hardened a bit. I've definitely like pulled back and
move that out in front of you.
So I don't know. It has effects that is giving me opportunities to look at other things because it's definitely brought up a lot. I've had a lot of, I mean, we'll get into that. Just like the emotional roller coaster that it's been, and cycle breaking that it's been, and just really such a new thing than anything that I've done. So lots have come up, but also I've had I said, like, I've had to, like, things went very differently than I thought they were gonna go.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of, I don't know. I feel like I'm different.
How so?
Like I feel like I'm more, like, at this point in time, I feel like I'm like, I feel like I'm very protective of myself right now, and like I'm there's definitely things to come up and interesting. What about you?
There's definitely some things to come up.
I'm trying to decide how much I'm going to get into this right now with, and like, also I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and pour my heart out all on my own, buddy. Well, you want a heart session, you're going to have to come up to the table.
This is the thing that happened because we got so disconnected from each other. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like myself. I know you don't feel like, I don't know, maybe you don't feel like yourself. I know we don't feel like us. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You and me and us and how we feel as a couple. And I think it's just like recovering from the experience.
Yeah. So how as a couple, when you've encountered, because this is like a life-changing event.
Yeah,
so
we're in the middle of it. This is the
transformation. And the things that needed to come up came up. Like, you displayed behaviors and actions that are triggering for me and that would bring things to the surface. And I have no doubt that I displayed behaviors and actions that were triggering for you and would bring things to the surface. So we had the opportunity to look at these things, especially because we did all this during Mercury retrograde, which happened to be retrograde in Libra, which is partnerships and contracts. So we had this like relationship thing that we got to literally go through, tear down our house in a sense, and then rebuild our house and get rid of the old and decide what we wanted to keep and what we were no longer keeping and what could now serve somebody else. If we look at our physical manifestation and how it played out, like, completely with our emotional bodies, our physical and our emotional were so tied in this dance of, and then we each had to do it our way, which did not work for the other person. So there was like this separation in it, which I'm not sure what means. I keep losing my voice. That's so funny. I'm like, okay. I think I burped too. There you go. Like, I see you. I see you, throat chakra. So it's just like, it's really fascinating, all the things that we're going to get to look at now. And like, that has really come up. And so do we keep doing it on our own? Did we do enough individual work where now we get to combine what we have learned together and rejoin together? Or have we created a new fork in the road. This is where you get to look at as a couple.
There's not a new fork in the road.
There's always a new fork in the road.
Yeah.
It's always a choice.
All I hear you say is like disconnect and distance between us. And I'm like, that's not what happened. That's not what's happening.
It kind of is. We definitely had a disconnect. We definitely had distance, and we definitely like went inward. We went inward and had to do things, and we did not like, I was in my process and you were in your process.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were not in our process. Now, as soon as we get everything, like, oh, the dust literally settles, and we're like, oh, we need to clean off this table here. The dust literally settles, and now we sit down and record our first episode since all this on October 1st, and it's episode 333, and now we get to take my process and your process and look at our process, and we get to join it. So what does that look like now? How do we come together with, oh man, we just went on this wild ride together, but not together, like completely on our own. We each like, I don't know, we did this thing together on our own, and now we get to, like, what did we learn from it? How did we get stronger as individuals and as a couple during it? What shit did we get rid of that we didn't need anymore? Where did we get stronger and rebuild? Or now it's our opportunity to rebuild? Or are we like, huh? Who are you? Like, it's like there's all these like curiosity parts.
I have a part of me inside that is like, I'm looking at it from this perspective, right? Where we had disconnect over the past month because of the nature of what we went through and had all the stuff that we had to do. And I take that as my fault, and that's my, like, I failed. That's my failure. And now it's my responsibility to fix that. And then I feel like all you're doing, and this isn't, I'm sorry, let me see if I can rephrase that. What it feels like is that I am being held accountable for that. And then it's like my soul, like, it's like, what are you going to do now, Craig, to fix this thing? You broke this thing, and now it's up to you to fix it. Like, this is your fault because you didn't, you know, do X, Y, or Z over the past month. And like, I know that's not what you're saying at all. I know that's not what you're expressing. So I'm just recognizing how that's like my narrative and my story of like if there's an issue in our relationship, it's my fault because of something that I did. And then it's my responsibility to fix it or make up for it in a sense. And like, I feel that in the sense of like, that's how it feels for me. But then intellectually, I know that that's not what happened or is happening. Does that make sense?
So you know that's not what I'm saying. You recognize that as your dialogue.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with your dialogue?
Well, it's like I'm trying to counter that dialogue with like a different story, a different narrative.
Can you ask yourself to tell yourself the truth of the situation?
Can I?
Like, because you hear your dialogue.
Yeah.
You understand that. So you're hearing that. So can you ask, like, what is the truth of the situation? Not your dialogue, but how you...
Well, like, the truth is things happened really fast, and we didn't...
Crazy fast.
We didn't plan very well.
Well, there wasn't a lot of opportunity to plan. Like, it happened fast and we had to act. And then we did make plans. And then other people, like, the things that we were relying on changed. And then we had to, again, make new plans. We were constantly adapting and changing our plans and going with the flow.
So it's like like I said, I'm trying to counter that narrative. I'm trying to, like, the truth of it is it happened really fast, and we were constantly scrambling to stay like on point with what needed to be done. And I feel like if we zoom out, and looked at the bigger picture of it, I feel like you and I did such a beautiful job of working together to get everything finished.
Right.
And such a beautiful job of being a team and just taking care of everything that needed to be taken care of. Like there were times when I was in the basement doing something, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever, like when I was hanging baseboard in the basement, and doing all of the stuff like that down there. And it was like my brain was sitting there running through this endless list of, because it was constantly an endless list of stuff that we needed to do, right? Mm-hmm. Trying to keep track of all of this stuff that we needed to do was just a nightmare.
It was terrible.
And, but what was nice was that while I was doing this thing on the list, you were doing that thing on the list. Mm-hmm. And so it was just like we had this ginormous to-do list that needed to be accomplished by a certain date.
We just kept chipping away
at it.
And we just
each kept chipping away at it over and over and over.
Met in the middle.
Over and over and over and over again. And sometimes we got to do stuff together when timing worked out and when things kind of worked out. And then the majority, I mean, if we would have tried to just go through and do everything together, room by room by room by room, maybe it could have been done that way.
That's how, like, I feel like you're nitpicking. Like that was my vision of like, we were doing this together. Mm-hmm. So I thought we were going to tackle it together.
Mm-hmm. Which meant literally like hanging the baseboard together. And then
can you think of how fast though, like just like, cause we had this thing where we each did our own thing and then we came in together. So we accomplished everything. Many hands make little work, right? Only we had 4 hands. Mm-hmm. Sometimes 3. Like, but like how the time, because you look at it from 2 different ways. It's like, I'm doing this and you're doing this. And so these 2 things are getting done. And then you look at, if we do something together, that gets done faster. So who knows, right? I wanted to go through it with you, but who's to say what was the right or wrong way? We did it the way we did it.
Yeah.
But like if we were both hanging baseboards together, okay, I about went off on a tangent. If we were able to work together in a uniformed way or in some kind of like connected way, work together, we would have been able to accomplish those jobs faster and move on to the next job. But whether that would have decreased the overall time or not, who knows? Because while you're doing this and I'm doing this, we're getting these 2 things done.
Right.
And when we were both doing this, we're getting this one thing done faster, which meant we got to move on to the next thing. So honestly, the time might have just like equaled the same, because this task would have been done faster and we would have got to the next task, which would have been the same amount of time for me finishing this task, you finishing this task.
Yeah.
And I hated the tasks. They were so hard.
There wasn't one that I liked.
Yeah. I liked painting at the beginning of this journey.
No.
I did.
About painting that I liked.
I liked painting. I got excited about painting houses. Like I liked the new paint, the fresh paint, the process of it to watch, like the instant gratification of how things change. I liked painting.
Yeah.
I liked painting. I liked the process of it all. And now I'm like, I hate paint. Mm-hmm. I hate paint. I hate wallpaper. I'm pretty pessimistic when it comes to painting houses or wallpaper.
I think looking back, we'll see how it just happened the way that it was supposed to happen.
Of course, when you zoom out, we did a really good job.
And like, I'm trying to really soften how I'm judging myself because I've been really, really critical of myself for the past week. Like we've been done with all the house stuff for a week now. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean we've been done. Like, I mean, we still had to anyways, we're never done. There's just an ongoing process until we move. But the daily grind of fixing and painting and repairing and patching and healing and all the different things that we had to do, we're done with that.
Yeah.
And so we've got to slow down just a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I've just been incredibly critical of myself.
Yeah.
Like so hard on myself. And I don't want to do that. Like I want to stop that process.
Do you want to be critical? Do you not want to be critical of yourself, or do you want to change behaviors that make you critical of yourself? Like, what are you looking at?
It is crazy to me how disconnected we are right now.
Right.
That's so frustrating. I keep trying to think of how to fix it.
Yeah.
And I'm so lost in my own shit of being in pain and like just stuck in this really critical point of like space of just, I'm so angry and hurt and sad and overwhelmed. Like you felt, you had a bunch of emotional processing throughout the month that we did all of this stuff. And
still having emotional processes.
Yeah.
A lot.
And I didn't. And that's partially like, I mean, there were times when I did. I had moments, but they were really brief. And I didn't really allow myself a lot of time to feel too much. Because it was just, I just had to keep working in order to get things done. And right, wrong, or indifferent, right? It doesn't really matter whether or not that was the right way to do things or the wrong way to do things, or things could have been done differently. It just is what it is. It's how I did it. And now I'm like, I need some time to feel my way through everything. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like we've got like phase 1 of this experience, this journey kind of done, right?
Yeah.
And we got a couple more phases before we end up wherever we're going. That's the other thing. We don't know where we're moving yet.
Right? Should we talk about that?
Yeah.
We don't even know where we're going. We're trusting crazy people.
What I'd like to do, though, is do the next phases differently than how we did this first phase.
Yeah, I would like that too. I'm on board. How do you want to do it?
I don't feel like you are really hearing me right now. Or that's not true. It doesn't feel like you really care about what I'm saying right now.
Okay.
I don't feel like you're not doing anything wrong. I don't feel very I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, Steph. I don't know if I'm trying. I think I'm partially trying to communicate with you and express things in a way to give you some insight and some perspective of what I've been going through and what I've been feeling. And also in a way to try to connect, like to reach out. And it doesn't feel like you're receptive to receiving any of that stuff right now. And if that's the case, that's totally understandable and that's totally okay. And we can kind of shift up and discuss other things and stuff like that.
I think we should just stay on this topic now. I am not receptive. This whole month has been hell. This month has been hell. Yeah. I have had my heart broken in so many ways. And I have learned very much that I don't go to you for any of this. I am emotionally shut off right now. You are not somebody that I can go to with these feelings. I have had to go through all of this very, very difficult stuff. You witnessed some of my emotional breaks, but you have not got to be a part of that process. You were not. This was not something that we went through together. And I've been trying to be optimistic on let's look at this and let's look at the ways that, we went internally. But I feel very abandoned. It was very difficult. Like the ways that you are feeling on how your energy was. Like, I love you so much and I forgive you and it's all okay. And we got through this how it was, but your energy was very much that. It was very, very difficult. It has been very hard. So now that all of us, like, even last night, I'm like, I'm trying. There's like nothing. I get nothing from you. I have shut that down. I am taking care of all of me. So when you sit here and you're like, hey, I'm trying to reach out, I'm like, okay, I've been here and that has got turned off on me. So you get to feel what you're feeling, but to use it against me, like, hey, there's more to the story than that. So I am not receptive because I can't trust that. And I don't know what's happening here because what I've needed has not been there. So I don't understand right now this sudden emotion that I haven't seen, that hasn't been given, that hasn't been expressed. Like, what's happening right now is just like, oh, I don't know how to trust any of it. And I only know how to take care of me right now because that's all I've had. So, knowing what I know about how this works, knowing what I know about how shadow works, knowing what I know about you and me, then I go back to saying we have been on this journey alone and together. We've been doing these physical manifestations of our emotional process. We have gone through this. What have we unpacked that no longer serves, and how do we rebuild us? So I'm like looking at all of this as like, whoa, that was a process. Our shadows came out to dance. Our managers that know how to handle shit in our own way came out and took care and got this going. We are not perfect. We did not do it the way that we wanted to do it. We did not do it the healthiest way. We went to routines, old patterns and behaviors that have taken care of everything in the past. And we shed shit along the way. And because we are always healing, because we are always growing, because we still kept working on ourselves, we still grew during this process. So now how do we come together with it? Because I think that's a possibility. It was a shit show. We, on one hand, failed miserably. And on another hand, we rocked it. We took our new tools, we did the best that we could, and we got new tools along the way. And now we get to see what we can build with our new tools and our cleared out space and our new adventure. Or at least that's what I'm trying to hold on to. Because otherwise...
It feels like you're resentful towards me because of how the month went.
I have some hurts. I definitely have some hurts. I don't feel like they're resentments, though. Could they turn to resentments? Absolutely. But I don't feel resentful. I have some hurts. I have some needs. I have some hopes. I feel like maybe you can not resent, but like resonate with that too. You probably got some hurts and some needs and some hopes in you as well.
Yeah.
Maybe we can just understand each other and be compassionate with each other for that.
I would like that. I don't know. I'm sure we're doing that thing that always happens where we're stuck in our opposition and our opposing corners, feeling the exact same thing.
Right.
So all the things that I'm going to speak and say are really things that you feel and think, and like the perspective that I'm coming at is really the space that you're coming at. And because I'm sitting over here and I'm like, I'm not feeling seen. I'm not feeling like you talk about needing stuff over the past month and needing and interpreting, but it obviously, I mean, needing things from me. And then I'm not showing up for that. So then you're learning that you can't rely on me and depend upon me. Is that right? Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a... Is that all you heard?
No, that's not all I heard. Of course not.
I don't know that I have the, I don't know that I'm emotionally able or in the right frame of mind for this part of the conversation.
Okay.
I feel like I definitely need to, like, I just felt myself get like super confused and reactive, and yeah, I feel like I just like kind of just like, instead of like, I felt the disconnection from us, but I feel like I just disconnected from myself. Like so I don't know. I want to be able to have these conversations in a healthy way, but I don't know that I'm capable to have that one just yet. And I'm like, oh, we're right in the middle of the podcast. You gotta like find it. You gotta find it. And I'm like, I don't think I have that one right now.
I have an overarching thing that, I mean, I tried to communicate it a handful of times throughout the month and all the stuff that we went through and everything. And it's something that I'm still, I mean, it's something that I always hold on to. It's something that is like the guiding principle of my life, kind of.
What is it?
That we are together.
Yeah. In
everything that we do. And that we are headed, like, it's all the stuff that we say to each other, where it's like, I go where you go. You and I are the same. Like, I'm not in opposition to you ever. Even if we're head down working, we're still holding hands together, walking the same path. Like, throughout everything, I mean, metaphorically speaking, all the stuff that we went through last month in different areas of the house and in different emotional spaces, and at times totally disconnected and never even getting the opportunity to reconnect because of exhaustion. And like, by the end of the day, it's like pass out and sleep. And do you know what I mean?
I get tired just talking about all this.
Yeah, all of that stuff. Yeah. Through all of that, I was never not standing right next to you, connected with you, going towards the thing that we're going towards, going in the direction of our life and our dreams and everything that we talk about and everything that we believe in. That's where I'm always going. That's where I'm always headed. So when earlier you were talking about like feeling alone or abandoned, or that you couldn't rely on me, and I'm like, I'm not trying to negate any of that emotion and any of that experience and any of that feeling that you have. And I have those feelings at times too. Like, there were times when I felt not seen and judged. I mean, all of those things came up in me as well. But I don't know if, like, do you still have that feeling at the end of the day, regardless of whatever has conspired and gone, you know, that we've gone through and experienced, that even through it all, we're still just the same two people holding hands together, walking the same path, heading in the same direction towards our dreams and our life that we're living?
I mean, yeah, that's what kept me going. But like, hearing you say that, honestly, it's really hard when like behaviors and actions say something completely different. That's not what it feels like in those moments. That's not what it feels like to be around you. And that's not what that's not how, all of this, you're like, oh, this is where I'm at. This is how I'm feeling. There's nothing that shows that. It is so hard. It really feels, I guess that's not really what it matters right now. I keep moving towards the space with you. I keep moving that way, and I keep the belief that that's what we're doing. But I also know that it's up to more than just one person. And it's really hard sometimes to see that that's where you're coming from. And it's just, I know things get hard. I know they get overwhelmed, but I don't know, just sometimes it can feel pretty bad, This was hard. It was necessary. It's necessary one way or the other. Wherever we end up, however it goes, it was necessary. We've definitely done it differently. I know I can speak for myself, and maybe you can speak for yourself here, and this will be a good idea. I know while things did not go how I thought or how I hoped or how I would have liked for them to go, I know that I showed up stronger than I have before. I know I showed up healthier than I have before and differently, and I made changes and I healed and grew along the way, even through the mistakes and the setbacks and the fall downs. I did not execute this perfectly. I failed and I got up over and over again, and I did better over and over again. Can you, do you see that with you?
Yeah.
Well, kind of describe that a little bit, I did. Are you able to articulate that at all?
Yeah, immensely.
Yeah. So that's a good thing. And then it's hard, we get into these moments here, right? Because intellectually we know better. Intellectually we have more tools than we displayed. And so we and when we are not going through, literally shedding physical and emotional, soul, ancestral, we were actively shedding traumas. We were deep, immense in shadow work throughout this whole thing. We were in our shadows. Sometimes our shadows were driving. Sometimes we were healing. We were working together. We were doing all of these things. When you are in deep shadow, when you're in that deep work, all of your tools, they don't get used. That would be great if it worked that way. And you're like, oh, I have all these tools. This is how I shall go through this. We used a lot of them. And then some days we use this one, and some days we were like, what is this? That we don't need that anymore. Where did that go? That was a good tool. That was a brand new tool. Why'd we throw that away? We didn't use it. But then at the end of the day, we hold ourselves to this standard of all of the tools that we have. And why didn't we use those? Instead of being okay, well, we used what we could that day. We did our best and we kept showing up. So I think that's why I don't have resentments, why I do have some hurts. But I'm I saw us using different tools, different days, and doing the best we could and trying really hard to not hold myself or you to the standards of what we're capable of on our best day, because we weren't having our best days. We were having some really hard days. So I don't know. I'm still emotionally protective right now. I'm still emotionally withdrawn. I'm not going to be able to connect with you on the podcast right now because there's a mic in my face, which hasn't been there for a month. There's a camera on me, which hasn't been there for a month. And there's still so much processing that's happening. And like little reach outs haven't been like, this is going to take some time to reconnect. Like we made a new path and we have to let the water start to head down that path instead of our old ways trying to redirect it to where the water used to go. You know, literally made new Sanskrits here. So like new neural pathways, I don't know. I can't just sit here and connect with you when it's been too much and I've tried. And I don't think you can really sit here and connect with me when that hasn't been, like, you haven't been able to drop into that. So I think you want to, but I think it's also asking too much. Like, we need to take little baby steps to this. We need to figure out little ways that we can reconnect momentarily and let it build and not be like, now we should be back to where we were. I can't just jump right in. You can't just jump right in. We have to re-strengthen those muscles a little bit. I think it's still there though. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just sitting over here blowing smoke at my own ass and being like, everything's fine. We built new tools. And really it's like, phew. But I think it is. Like, I believe what I'm saying. I know that I know how to manipulate myself to keep in shitty situations, but I really don't feel like that's what's happening. So I will look at that as a possibility, but I don't know.
I hear everything you just said. If you want me to like.
Do you feel seen with what I said? Do you feel like heard at all? Like, I'm talking about me and I'm seeing you. Can you hear that parts where I'm seeing you too and I'm seeing us in this moment?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm just recognizing and realizing how incredibly criticized I feel. I feel incredibly judged and criticized. And that tells me that I am super activated.
Yeah.
And in a place where I don't feel safe. And that has nothing to do with you or what you've done or anything like that, right?
I know.
We'll probably get into it because we're going to do 2 episodes if you're up for it.
Sure. Shit. I was just literally thinking, I'm like, man, we should have done this tomorrow. Like, retrograde, like Mercury comes out of full on retrograde tomorrow, still in a shadow, but like tomorrow would be a better day. But no, let's do it.
Well,
let's do it.
Just from the perspective of time.
Okay.
It's 10 o'clock.
We still have to get ready for a showing.
I know. So
we have a
maybe
showing.
We'll just wrap up this episode and then we'll record. We don't know that's the other huge caveat of we're going to do our fucking damnedest to continue. Like, hopefully we went through phase 1 of moving.
Right.
And you can tell that it was a clusterfuck.
It was so hard.
And phase 2 hopefully will be less of a clusterfuck and more of a prepared fashion so that we can continue to release episodes of the podcast and share with you this journey along the way. And that might happen, or you might not hear from us until next year.
Right? November 1st, here we are again.
But
that was really loud.
Part of because people have asked us, like, why are we moving? And we have easy answers to give people that are just like surface level stuff, right? Change of scenery or and all of those things are true. Like, all of those things. I said one thing.
Your brain is moving faster than your mouth.
Yeah.
The list went in your brain, but only one thing came out.
Yeah. There's a huge list of why we're moving.
Yeah.
And most of the reasons of why we're moving are deep emotional reasons that are deeply personal to us.
Yeah.
And to our experience. And some of those things we're not ready to talk about on the podcast, let alone in, the realm of our everyday life with people. But because earlier you were talking about how we were doing so much shadow work over the past month. And I mean, that was kind of the overwhelming part for me, was every fucking day was that. And I'm not mad at you at all. And you just got done articulating how you fully acknowledge and recognize that that's what we were both doing every day. And I don't know. I think there's a part of me that does not feel, I don't know if you really know that that's what I was doing every day, because of how much you went through and how much you had to go through and how much you kind of processed, and you felt like you were alone and stuff. And I'm sorry that I didn't show up for you as best as I could. But although we were doing physical things every day with the painting and the fixing and the wallpapering and everything, I was deep in my shit every day. And I did the best that I could, trying to do all of that. Trying to show up for you. Trying to do all the stuff that we needed to do. Trying to show up for our son and trying to still work and take care of things that we needed to do every day to keep we couldn't just take the month off. But I processed through a lot of stuff the past few weeks, and it wasn't surface easy stuff to process through. And I think had we not, because it's not uncommon for us to go through deep emotional things. And the last several years, you and I have been doing a lot of really beautiful shadow work together and supporting each other very beautifully. Because there's times where we're doing it together. There's times where you're swimming in your stuff and I'm just doing a really good job of supporting you and holding space for you. And we didn't have the option, I suppose, or that's just not what the last few weeks looked like because of the list of things that we had to accomplish. So we had to go through a lot of stuff by ourselves. And I think part of you thinks that I was just head down painting or doing baseboards in the basement and not spending time supporting you going through what you were going through. And that's not what it was. That's not what it was at all. It was a lot of work. And it was every day. And then I know I'm not sitting here saying I had the luxury of sleeping. I mean, you go to bed at night. Every night I'd go to bed and I'd have not horrible, but sometimes horrible dreams of intense processing. Because that's how it works, right? So it was just day in and day out, every day. And I don't know if you have the full understanding of what that experience was like for me, because obviously I didn't do a great job of expressing it or sharing it. But you're really right. Like, we did a lot of work, and we both did a lot of work, and we did not have our full capacity or faculties with us. But yeah, it was a lot, babe. You know?
Would you help clarify something?
Yeah.
I hear you that you don't think that I really see that you are doing work as well. I'm confused by that. So I would like more clarification. Like I also want clarification on something else. I just want to like make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. You heard what I said, and like you said it back on the tools that we had and how we were both in that on our own journey, but you don't feel like I really. So I don't understand. I'm sorry. I'm confused. I hear that you don't feel that way, but then you also articulated how I said that and you feel that, but then you're like, but you don't really see it. I don't understand.
I think it's
the energy that you're.
I think it's that dynamic of, because I'm assuming you feel the same way, where it's like I don't really appreciate what you've gone through, or I don't really feel the full gravity of what the last few weeks have been like for you, with all the immense work that you've had to do and the going through of physical things and the cleaning out of this, that, and the other, and the purging and the throwing away and all of these different things that you had to do. That, yeah, I could see it and I can understand it from the outside perspective of, yeah, that's emotionally challenging and a difficult shadow work experience, but then I don't have full compassion and understanding for the depth of what it really felt like. And that I come off maybe a little bit uncaring or uncompassionate, and just like, yeah, that was tough. Hurry up and paint.
Yeah, and, not exactly.
And if that's not the case, then I mean, but
I know that you don't like. I don't need you to. I don't need you to like validate how hard that was.
Okay.
Like that's not what I'm needing. That's not what I feel like the lack is.
Okay.
So I'm confused.
What's the lack?
Like how you said, like support me through it. I didn't need you to carry me, but I thought we were going to stand next to each other instead of feeling like you turned your anger and frustration and like everything. I don't feel like you stood by us. It felt like you attacked us. Like everything was just like
you and I. Or no, you and Asher.
Is that what you need? Is that because you're saying is like, oh, I see that was really hard for you.
I do need validation for what I did. Yeah,
that was really hard for you. I see that. I try to articulate that throughout. To show you that I saw that. I tried to articulate that I saw it was hard for you and you were using the best tools that you had and that you were holding yourself to a standard of all your tools when that is a standard that nobody can meet, especially when they're going through that. I very much see that, and I was very much trying to give you like, I guess the word is grace here, and just like acceptance with yourself and be like, look, you can't use all your tools at once.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see how hard that was. I know that was.
What was the other thing? So there was some other thing that you needed clarification on.
I feel some dynamics are at play in this conversation, and I think I need to opt out for a minute. I'm not going to keep going right now on this. I think we'll just leave it at you needed to be validated, and I'm just gonna
okay, let's wrap up the episode then. Thank you everybody for tuning in and staying with us over the past month. Like we said earlier, hopefully we'll be able to continue this journey and share it with you on the podcast, and that's our goal and our intention, is to keep recording and releasing new episodes all along the way and sharing with you what this experience is bringing up for us, because obviously it's bringing up everything. So I wanted to at some point talk about maybe to the aspect of like, this is definitely a midlife crisis in some ways for us. But we got plenty of time. We're not going anywhere.
Sports car would have been way easier.
That's still not ruled out.
Oh, it's ruled out.
I don't think I want a sports car, though. I'm pretty sure I want a motorcycle. And but yeah, stay tuned for next episode that will hopefully be out right after this episode.
We'll see.
Thank you, everyone.